back from the dead.
Hey everybody, I'm back again. Welcome to Rugby Chat with Angus. We are past the first weekend of Super Rugby. Some good results, some very enterprising play, and also the Sydney 7's. So we're going to get straight into it. We're going to do a recap on the results and talk about the teams and what we have seen so far in round 1. And also we're going to just do a quick recap on the Sydney 7's. And we're going to do a special interview insert with a very special and very good 7's fan. Will give her insight on the new format that's currently on at the World Rugby 7 series. So let's get straight into it. Let's look at the results of the weekend. And first up, we had the Blues against the Chiefs. I picked the Blues on Super Blue. I thought maybe this is their year. They have already batted on their books, but unfortunately didn't play due to All Black protocol. And the Blues did quite well in the first half. I think at one point they were up 19 points to 7 or something. But in typical Blues fashion, they let it go. The Chiefs made a masterstroke in bringing on Aaron Cruden, as well as Anthony Brown. And in the end of the day, they beat them by 29 points to 37. So at the end, the Blues, as per usual, were their own worst enemy. And the other game was the Brumbies against the Reds. Also, the Reds started like a house on fire. I think at one stage they were up 17 points to 7. And then again, the Brumbies came back to seal a good home victory for them. The Sharks and the Bulls, I covered the match for my other freelance job. Quite a bit of a dire one, not very much entertaining in the first half. Second half had a bit more action. Basically, I'm not sure what to make of the match, to be honest. Nahamba was good when he came on, the new scrum half of the Sharks, the junior Springbok. But it was a very stop-start affair with loads of reset scrums. Just a lot of kicking, aimless kicking for that matter, and I just feel it was a very good game for the weekend. And then we had the shock of the season so far of round 1 was the Sunwolves and the Rebels. The Sunwolves actually getting the upper hand at home by 36 points to 27. I didn't see it coming. I think the Super Bowl prediction only had 1% of the community picked the Sunwolves, so that's probably the Sunwolves fans themselves. Because I don't think anyone saw that coming. I made a bit of a blunder to pick Marika Koroberry as my wing on fantasy, and it totally backfired. He didn't have a good game, as did none of the Rebels players themselves. So it might be an indication that the Rebels will have a very long season ahead of them, or have the Sunwolves maybe a few tricks up their sleeve and maybe get a few wins in the final season. We'll have to see. And then we had the Crusaders and the Waratahs. Crusaders victorious by 43 points to 25. Not much surprise there. Crusaders new logo, new team basically with all the caps they've lost and a couple of new names, but same old Crusaders. As I mentioned in my preview on the teams, they probably will have some other guy coming in, and it just looks like the previous guy never left. So they did quite well to get a good win at home, first up on the season. I think there's one probably many saw coming. I actually picked the Aguaris by 3. They actually won by 38 points to 8. So it was quite a big win over the Lions in Buenos Aires. I think the Lions coach Cash van Rooyen had a rough introduction in Super Rugby. Basically, I think that he has a lot to learn still at this level as a head coach. He's only been a Currie Cup head coach last season, making the final, losing out to the Cheetahs. So I think the Lions might just be in a transition phase, but it's early days. It's way too early to tell. And then, of course, we had the Stormers and the Hurricanes. How can I forget that one? Stormers victorious by 27 points to 0. I was at the game and it was very good to watch the match. That being said, the Hurricanes looked like they were never in it. I have to mention this. The last time the Hurricanes were beaten so badly in round 1 was in 2016. They were beaten by the Brumbies, I think 52 points to 10 in Canberra. I'm not sure about the scoreline, but I think that was the scoreline more or less. And Phil Kearns, the Aussie commentator, he said that the Hurricanes look slow, fat and unfit. They won the competition that year, so maybe the Hurricanes fans hope that that might be the case this year as well. And then basically, so we're going to go to 7's. So the 7's concluded this morning. This is still Sunday evening. I'm talking to you guys now, by the way. In Sydney, Fiji being victorious, and as well as the Black Ferns in the women's division against Canada. Fiji beating the Blitzboks by 12 points to 10 in a very, very rainy affair. I think it could have gone either way. Again, the Blitzboks falling short on a conversion or two, and the boys can be proud of themselves. And to finish the vlog today, I had a very special guest. I interviewed yesterday, and here she is. Her name is Mishka Wiener, and you can actually follow, well, not her, but you can follow her page if you are a 7's fan. It's a 7's fan page. It's all one word. Go search for it on Instagram and click follow and go with it. But without any further ado, here's the interview with Mishka Wiener. But from my side, I'll be concluding this now. So after the interview, this will be done. So again, guys, thanks for the support. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And like I always say, do tell your friends and have a good week. We'll see you after round 2. Cheers. Hey everybody, I'm with Mishka Wiener here, and she's an avid Blitzbox fan, massive one, all the players know and all that. So yeah, Mishka, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. Thanks for your time, by the way. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the format, about the Blitzbox that World Rugby that's implemented now, where they go straight to, you top your pool, you're in. If you don't top your pool, well, you're gone. And we feel it's unfair, but I'm going to talk to an avid fan who actually feels strongly about this and about the women's game inclusivity as well. So Mishka, first and foremost, about the women's. It's good that they are involved now, I feel personally as well. I'm not sure how you feel about it, but what do you think about the 2-day tournament as opposed to having a 3-day tournament to accommodate the women now?
Honestly, World Rugby has made a mess of this entire situation. I am 100% against it. I've been so vocal about it all over social media platforms. The way I see it is that the men's tournament has taken quite substantial time to grow to a household name that it is today. You know, it never happened overnight. I mean, before, if I'm not mistaken, it was predominantly dominated by New Zealand and Fiji, you know. So for me, I feel that as much as I am for women's sport and I am so excited about World Rugby trying to implement women's 7's into men's 7's, they need to give it time for it to grow. You know, Cape Town 7's was amazing. It was a 3-day event. It had the normal format that we all know and love, and I mean, it was a success. Yes, I can understand maybe the first day wasn't as packed as day 2 and 3, but that's going to take time, you know. And I feel that with trying to squeeze in women's tournament and men's tournament over 2 days, men's tournament is going to take a back fall because there already so many fans out there who are against this format, who are reluctant to go to tournaments now because of the format. And I feel that if you are going to let the men suffer, it's going to be a domino effect. Women are going to suffer as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we spoke about the growth of teams and how it used to be an amateur sport. Well, it actually was an amateur sport before it became professional in recent years. We'll say Fiji won and New Zealand won it, but now 2 years ago we saw Ireland emerging on the scene. Now, personally, I didn't know Jordan Conroe, I didn't know any of those names. I didn't even know Ireland had a 7's team for that matter. And they came onto the scene. They played brilliantly. They played in Paris, not in Paris, it was in London.
Yes.
They played a tournament. Ireland made the semi-finals.
They did.
But they came second in the pool. Now, if Ireland comes second in the pool now, they won't have a chance to do that. And they ended up beating England in their own tournament in the third place playoff. So that's going to develop their growth because they work so hard to get into this tournament now. But now, just because they're going to finish second, which will happen to them most of the time because they are still a developing team, it's going to hinder their growth. You said they've been working on so hard for the last few years.
So with the exception of the Blitzbokke, last weekend we saw New Zealand, England, Australia and I think France make it out of the tournament to go compete for the cup. And if that just shows an indication that this new format only caters for top teams, because Canada ended second in their group, Argentina went on to beat Fiji to end second in their group. What about them, you know? And in the year of the Olympics, why are we messing around players? Why are we messing around teams?
Before we get to the Olympics, you mentioned Canada and you mentioned Argentina. Those are teams who have won tournaments before.
Exactly.
It doesn't happen often, but those are probably their one chance to probably cause an upset. Still be second in the pool, manage to go on and win a quarter, win a semi, and then possibly win the final.
And how many teams have not ended second to go on to win the cup?
There's been quite a few. Blitzbox being one of them. I know they're quite frequent pool toppers, and the one time they had to, they didn't. But
I think I speak under correction, but if I'm not mistaken, they topped their group in every tournament last year and the previous year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think for the last 12 months, I think they have the same stat in the head as well.
And then last week when it mattered, you know, it didn't go our way, but you win some, you lose some. It's part of the team or part of the game. But the way I see it, and I'm making no excuses for the Blitzbokke, it was a mental shift. You know, they lost to England, they by 2 points,
Conversion.
and and from there it went downhill. They ended up losing every other game, if I'm not mistaken, from there. So yeah, I think also it has a big mental impact on the teams. I mean, look at today. Fiji took New Zealand in the final game of Sydney Sevens, and Fiji killed that game. They were absolutely amazing. They were clinical, they were physical, and they went on to beat Hamilton 7 champion by 26 points to 5. So what does that do to your confidence level?
That's the beauty of sevens. 1 week you were down, and look at the Blitzbox now. They beat Argentina 52-7 this morning.
Oh wow! I saw that.
It's massive. It's massive, So it's just the beauty of sevens. Last week they lost to Kenya. This week they're just like dominating France, dominating Argentina. They might even slip up against Samoa tomorrow. That's how unpredictable the game is.
That is
They
true.
can be sharp today, but tomorrow.
And I
it could be
mean,
another issue.
how unfair is it not now towards France? France have been amazing this World Series.
Joint points
They
with the
are
Blitzboks.
currently third, tied with the Blitzboks. I think point difference puts the Blitzboks second.
Yeah.
And now they can't go on, and they will lose quite a bit of points because of this new system. So at the end of the day, World Rugby has only catered for the top seeded teams. And I mean, Blitzboks are one of them, and I love the team, but what does that say to the integrity of the game? Because now it's not fair, it's no longer transparent. What does that say to the series? Do you go on to win the series and say, well, on fair and square? I mean, yes, you play with what's in front of you, and it's not the player's fault, it's not the team's fault, but you can't go from two formats in one, or from one format in two tournaments to go to another format in another two tournaments.
And I don't think this has been discussed with the coaches. I think it came out of the blue. Because I think even the players were surprised about this. They were like, what's going on now?
I'm not entirely sure about that, but I think also, yes, it was a decision made purely by a few individuals within the World Rugby system, and it's been a complete mess.
I put my neck out there. I don't think they know what they're doing, by the way, but it's not my business to say that.
Speaking of business, from a financial perspective, and the way I see it, is that World Rugby are going to lose in the long run. Because from what I do know, Sevens is not, there's not a lot of funding in Sevens. So teams already struggle to get funding to send a team to New Zealand or to Australia. So let's take the Blitzboks, for example. They traveled 30 hours to get to Hamilton Sevens, only to play 4 games. In my opinion, a waste of time, a waste of money.
And it's demoralizing as well.
Exactly. And I mean, SA Rugby or SADU could look at the situation and be like, the costs are outweighing the benefits. Let's scrap the Sevens union completely, and then what are we left with? A ripple effect once again, or domino effect for that matter. World Rugby loses because there's no team, there's no players. Players decide to go back to 15s. From a business aspect, I don't think it is a good one.
It's not going to work. And it's good that you mentioned the financial part of it, because you mentioned now how much it costs teams to travel. The women Blitzboks, they can compete in tournaments, but they don't have the financial resources to actually go there.
Exactly.
It's one of the things we spoke about now. And also now, finally, getting to the Olympic part of it. So will the format apply for the Olympics or not? Seeing that
I think
it's
I
on now.
actually haven't read much about the Olympics, but I think it's been the same format like it's been before. But apart from the format, obviously the world, I think the World Series determines the ranking and how you play. So what if it's a matter of you in a group stage with Fiji, New Zealand, and Ireland, for example? How are the rankings going to be affected now?
It was 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I think the top 4 made it through automatic qualification.
Yes.
That's how it worked last year or 2 years ago.
I'm talking about the seeding for when we actually go into the Olympics.
Yeah,
this
into
year,
the Olympics, yeah. But like for the other teams also competing to get into the Olympics itself, like how does that play? Because their rankings are bad. Let's say for instance, Argentina, like they might have a good tournament for the first 3 or 4, and then have a terrible for the other 5 or 6. And they could end up so low, and they could end up in that pool, Fiji, New Zealand.
Exactly.
It's not going to work for them.
No. So I really do hope that World Rugby looks at the past 2 tournaments. I hope that, I speak under correction, but I think we're going to see 1 or more 2 tournaments that are going to be affected by this new format. It's going to be played over 2 days, so once again the quarterfinals will be scrapped. But I think for the next leg, it's back to the old format. I do speak under correction though. I really hope they reevaluate the situation, and that moving forward and for the next World Series, we're back to 16 teams, we're back to the normal format that we all know and love, because otherwise Sevens is going to perish very quickly, and we do not want that, because like he said, I'm a huge Sevens fan, and it will be really sad to see something so spectacular that has grown so much over the past few years, just take a complete
different. Yeah, it's just we'll be sad if it happens. Okay, so the boys are still playing the weekend. The Blitzboks, they beat Argentina, smashed them actually. They beat France quite convincingly. So we get Samoa like the past 2 tomorrow morning.
Yes, alarm set for that.
Yeah, so we have to win this one. You know, we have no other choice. I'm supposed to be unbiased, but it's not gonna happen. But anyway, yeah. So predictions.
Well, for the women's tournament, my go-to is generally the Black Ferns because, like I said last week, they are a class above the rest. I mean, the women's have grown tremendously, but with the Black Ferns, they have good BMT and they know how to handle pressure situations. But I think for this weekend and after watching Australia women win, I am going to back the home team to lift that women's trophy tomorrow. And obviously it goes without saying I am backing the Blitzbokke to win Sydney 7's. We know how strong they come back after a poor tournament. It has been proven before. So to the Blitzbokke, everything of the best for your final pool game and everything of the best for finals day as well. Bring that trophy home.
Yeah, bring it home, boys. Just a quick comment. You mentioned the Black Ferns. I don't think you probably observed this. Maybe you have, but if I look at the culture of the Blitzboks and I look at the culture of the Black Ferns,
similar.
It's very similar. I always see Thailand, Nathan Wong talking, and she's always so bubbly, and even Stacey Walker, they always have this good vibe about them, you know, always smiling, whether they lose or win, like they always have this good vibe towards them, and I think that's key of this success as well.
Definitely. I mean, the Blitzbokke are a brotherhood. We all know that win or lose, they're in it together. They are unselfish. I don't know a single selfish player in that team. You know, they make time for their fans. They are family based and they're just a really good group. And you see it in the Black Ferns as well.
Exactly.
You know, Cape Town 7's was amazing. You know, heartbreak of course for the Blitzbokke, but it was an amazing event. I stayed after the presentations and stuff, and I was standing in the stands in front of the halfway line, and the Black Ferns literally, I think, were the last team to make it back into the tunnel. They took their time to take pictures with everybody. A lot of the players also gave away their socks and their boots, and it was just so amazing to see them interact. And you know, and they were so excited to be in Cape Town, you know, and it showed. And well done to them on a great season so far. They have been phenomenal, but I'm going to stick with the Australian women, and I'm hoping they do lift their home trophy. And then of course to our Blitzbokke, all the best.
All the best, boys. Yeah, also, and one last thing, I mentioned now the Black Ferns and their culture, but for the Blitzboks, you mentioned they are quite like a wounded animal when they come back after a bad tournament. I think it was 2 years ago, was it last year? I'm still in 2019 mode kind of.
That was last year, yes.
It was last year. I think they played it was Hong Kong, a bogey tournament. They didn't do well there though. They lost in the quarterfinals, I think.
Yeah.
Next tournament, and they played, sorry boys, they played badly, to be fair. And then they come in Vancouver the next weekend, and not Vancouver, sorry, in Singapore the next weekend. And it looked like a different team, the same we were seeing this weekend. And they won the damn thing. So
I think after today's...
It's just one of the same things, you know, like if they're going to be down, they're going to get back up. And I think it's a good thing about those boys. So well done and good luck for the rest of the tournament, boys.
You talk about a hurting Blitzbokke. This morning I got a lot of messages from a lot of fans that follow my page. They
SS7's fan page, just give them a follow.
They were like, what team is this? What happened? And I was laughing because I was like, yes, that's the boys we know and love. You know, they always come back stronger. And like I said, it's a mental shift, you know. And they've got a good support system besides their family and their loved ones. They've got an amazing team management, you know, from the assistant coach to the head coach to the strength and conditioning coach, you know, everybody in that team is it's one unit. They work together. Like I said previously, they win together, they lose together. So yeah, that's just the reason for the success. So let's hope that, you know, they can win it over this weekend and tie that, or not tie, close that gap.
Narrow the gap, yeah.
So yeah, all the best to the teams for the rest of Sydney 7's, and to World Rugby, please reevaluate the situation. Please drop this new format and go back to the original before we screw 7's over completely.
What she said. Anyway, that's all from our side. Anushka, you done?
I'm done,
that's
thank
cool.
you.
So thanks for your time again. I appreciate it.
And before we end off, I just want to say I am so proud of you. For those of you who have followed Angus for 10, 20 years, he has been phenomenal. He is the biggest rugby supporter that I have ever come across. We actually met through rugby. So I just want to say I'm so proud of you for, doing this channel and, putting rugby out there. And I know you're going to make a huge success. So I just want to say, when you are famous and well known and the next best big thing in the journal and media world, just remember who I am.
Can't forget you. You're too loud.
But yeah, I just want to say I'm proud of you, and this
thanks
has
a lot.
been amazing.
Appreciate
And
it.
thank you for having me and for allowing me to say my input. I hope World Rugby hears this.
I hope they do, and thanks for your time again. Cheers, guys.